This is hard. Oh my God.
Gilbert Merritt's emotions on full display in a General Assembly hearing in January. The Norfolk man spent more than 20 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit. And now he's pleading with the General Assembly to financially compensate him. I'm Jessica Larche, and I've been reporting on efforts to increase the amount Virginia pays to the exonerated. And I am following through again with an effort to make sure people like Merritt, who were wrongfully imprisoned based on malicious acts by law enforcement, get even more money.
I'm coming home, I'm 47 years old. I still feel like a child.
Gilbert Merritt was in his 20s in 2001 when a Norfolk court sentenced him to 30 years in prison for murder.
My whole family was ripped apart.
Merritt was exonerated in 2024 after more than 2 decades behind bars. Records show a witness who said Merritt confessed to her in 2001 revealed to a judge in 2022 that she lied due to manipulation and threats from now disgraced detective Robert Glenn Ford.
I just can't see this happening to somebody else. This is bad.
Ford's the same detective connected to the false confessions of 4 Norfolk sailors in the 1997 rape and murder of Michelle Moore Bosco.
The hurt, the pain.
And the same detective connected to the 27 years Joseph Carter spent in prison for a 1989 murder he didn't commit. I talked to him in 2022 after he received more than $1 million from the state for his exoneration.
There's no amount of money, and everybody can tell you this, that's in my shoes, that could make up for 27 years.
Back in 2010, Ford was sentenced to 12 years in prison for taking bribes from drug dealers while on the job. He's been free for a few years, but
we've opened the file.
The Norfolk Commonwealth's attorney told me in 2023 he's allowing Innocence Project attorneys to review Ford's old cases to learn if he's connected to putting other innocent people in prison.
Shouldn't we give these people more money because of how they were mistreated by Detective Ford?
That's Fairfax County Delegate Rip Sullivan at the General Assembly in January. I first talked to him in 2022.
We have a long way still to go.
When his bill to raise Virginia's base rate of compensation for the wrongfully incarcerated passed, it now sits at around $55,000 per year spent in prison. Sullivan wanted it at $80,000 a year.
Do we really want Virginia to be anything but at the front of the pack in terms of how we treat our citizens who've been so badly wronged?
Now he's authored a bill to allow people like Merritt, who were imprisoned because of intentional acts by law enforcement, to get much more than the state's base rate for the innocent.
It's hardly a stretch that 4 times base amount, regardless of what that might be, is proper.
As it stands now, a person in prison due to intentional acts by law enforcement could get quadruple compensation only if the city or county that wronged them agreed to add to the pot. Sullivan wanted that caveat cut out so the state could cover it all. His concern?
So we want to hand over this responsibility with which we can enhance someone's claim under the wrongful incarceration statutes and give localities the ability to block it either because they don't like the result or can't pony up the money.
Sullivan's fix fell apart in committee, but leaders did agree that the state may pay people like Merritt double and still allow them to go after the city for more money.
Been through things I ain't supposed to been through.
Merritt's compensation at the current rate is on a path for approval from the General Assembly, regardless of what happens to Sullivan's push to get people like Merritt even more. But there's no amount of money that can erase what he's endured.
There's no real answers, there's no real closure.
Robert Glenn Ford has not faced any charges for his connections to wrongful incarcerations. As for Delegate Sullivan's bill, it is now in the hands of the state Senate. I'll be sure to follow through. Jessica Larche, WTKR News 3.